If you're an accountant that's been creating content for a while now and you feel like it's just not quite getting you the results that you want, then this video is for you. I'm going to teach you the 7 types of content that you should absolutely be creating. And this is not like, oh, just post a picture this day, take a video that day, do a text post this day. No, these are 7 specific types of content that you should be creating if you want to get results. If we have yet to meet before, my name is Katie Thomas. I'm a CPA and own Leaders Online, a digital marketing agency for accounting firms. We work with firms of all sizes, those who just have 1 or 2 partners, all the way up into the top 100. I've seen so many different types of content throughout the years, and honestly, what works today is a lot different from what worked even just 1 or 2 years ago. With that being said, I want to make sure before I jump into these content types that you're on my newsletter. I share exclusive content there, in-depth guides, tutorials. So if you find these videos helpful, you'll absolutely love my newsletter, and I've dropped the link to subscribe in the description. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the first type of content that you should be creating, and that is content for AI. Yes, I said it. You should be creating content for AI. Now, the reason for this is people no longer get information the way that they used to. I want you to think about how you last researched something. Did you go straight to Google or did you go to ChatGPT? If you're like, hey, I went to Google, I want you now then to think about when's the last time you used ChatGPT? And has that increased since a year or 2 years ago? Now, if you're like, hey, I don't use ChatGPT, I use Claude. Whatever AI tool you use, you can replace it. But has that increased for you? Are you now using AI for more assistance than you did a year or 2 years ago? For almost all of us, the answer is yes. And the same holds true for the people looking for your help. They are going to AI to get answers to their questions, to do research about what accountant to switch to compare their options. And so you need to be showing up in AI as a solution, whether that is when they search what's the best accountant for me. If I own a clothing boutique or I'm a doctor, you should be showing up. If they have a question about exactly their situation as it relates to accounting or taxes, your content should be what it's pulling answers from. What this means is you need to be creating very clear, concise content that answers very specific questions. So ultimately, you can show up when someone is asking those questions. And this also means that you need to be optimizing so that when they ask, hey, who's the best accountant for me in this situation, that you show up. I could create a whole separate video on exactly how to create content for AI, but for the sake of this video, know that AI does not pull answers from polished marketing language. It pulls answers from content that explains things clearly, draws distinctions, and shows how decisions are actually made. Now, the next type of content you need to be focused on creating is problem-first content. A lot of accountants create content that is really about them, and it talks about how experienced they are, their credentials, why you should choose them as their accountant. That's not problem-first content, and ultimately, no one really cares about you. If you're an accountant, people understand what that means, and likely they have a pretty high view of you if they're looking for someone to help them with their accounting. What creating problem-first content looks like is creating content that shows that you understand that person's problems. Creating content around things like, hey, you're scared to check your bank account, or you are entering your credit card information onto websites, not really knowing how this is going to affect your bottom line. You don't like looking at your P&L every month. Things like that. That's creating content that says, I understand your problems. And that is what you want to focus on so that when someone reads that, they're like, oh, yeah, they get me. I have been avoiding checking my P&L every month, or I do avoid logging into my bank account to look at my numbers. Or maybe you're creating content about how to know when you can hire your next person, or how to make sure that you have the cash reserves to go after that next big goal. You want to create content that lets people know that you truly understand where they're at, and then ultimately how you can help them get over that problem. Now, this third type of content that you should be creating this year is one I would say that accountants miss the mark on the most, and that's point of view content. As accountants, we are naturally, not everyone, but a lot of us are more conservative and we like to fly under the radar, not ruffle any feathers. But the problem with this is that if you don't repel some, you're not going to attract any. And you have to have a strong point of view if you want to stand out. What makes you different? What is going to make you magnetic to some? I want you to think about someone who's really popular. Let's take Kim Kardashian. Some people absolutely despise her, but there are some people that totally love her. And it's because she's polarized. Say what you want about her, but she has diehard fans, and then she has people that really don't like her. Now, you don't need to become the Kim K of the accounting world, but you do need to have a point of view. You do need to take a stand for what you believe in and why ultimately you're different. Nobody can figure this out for you. So if you're going to your marketing team and you're asking them, hey, can you help me figure out my point of view? That's not a good place to be. It's going to take you sitting down and really figuring out, okay, what do you believe in? Based upon your experiences that you've had to date, where do you draw the line in the sand on how you do things that's maybe different from other people? What experiences have led you to have certain conviction and why you do what you do? Start with that and really dig into you and your story and your past and your path that you've been on to find, okay, what are my opinions? Why am I different from all the other accountants out there? And I promise that you are. So it's really important that you take the time to define that so then you can ultimately share that and attract those who you're meant to attract. And if you're looking for someone who does an amazing job at sharing their opinions and unique point of view, check out Kelly Roars. She is absolutely incredible, and I'll link her LinkedIn in the description box so that you guys can give her a follow to see someone who does this extremely well. The fourth type of content I need you to be creating this year if you want to get results is why the old way doesn't work anymore. People don't change because something is okay, or even often people don't change just because they know that there's a better option. They change because something's painful and something's not working now. And so I want you to be the one to highlight why the old way is failing. So maybe this is, hey, doing your tax return once a year and keeping your books up to date, that's not working because it's costing you this much in growth, this much of your potential. Highlight it. Show them what they're missing out on. If you don't show this, it's not going to encourage anyone to change. And as an accountant, you understand what the consequences are of not doing tax planning all year long, what not looking at your books all year long, what impact that has on a business. You understand the consequences of not laying out those big, lofty goals and then setting up financial projections behind them so that someone can hit those goals. You understand the consequences of that. But if someone else on the other side, if they don't know that, if they don't know why what they're doing now is ultimately failing them, they're never going to see that they need to make that change. So in your content, you need to show them this. You need to highlight, hey, I see what you're doing now. I see why you think that this is good enough, why this is helping you, say, stay out of trouble with the IRS. Yes, that's great, but it's not enough. If you really want to reach your goals and exceed your goals, here's what you need to do. In your content, it can show them that and it can push them to make the change that they need to so that you ultimately, what are we after here? Making the biggest impact we can. And if we don't help people change, then we ultimately can't help them create that change to reach their goals. And at the end of the day, then we are limiting our impact. So show them in your content why the old way is not working. Take this video, for example. I'm showing you these are the types of content that you need to make this year if you want to reach your goals, if you want to attract more clients, if you want to build a bigger practice to serve more people. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to create. If you keep creating the old content of, hey, just post a video this day, a text post this day, a picture this day, that's not going to work. That's not a strategy that works today. You need to be using these types of content that I'm outlining in this video. Now, the next type of content I want you to create is called trust transfer content. Trust transfer content is not just posting a Google review. It's really going in depth of here's where this person was at, here's where they wanted to be, and now here's where they are today. So this can be, yes, getting that Google review, but I want you to explain it or have that person explain it and go in depth into where were they at? Where did they want to be? And how did you get them there? I love Kelly Roars, and so I'm going to use her as another example. We started working together years ago now, and she came to me with this vision of the firm she wanted to create and the impact she wanted to create. And we looked at, okay, where's she at? She has this vision on where she wants to go, and how can we help her get there? And now she's absolutely blown up her firm. She is living a life that aligns with her values. She's building a family that's incredible while building this practice that's also incredible. She's gotten amazing recognition in the accounting space for what she's accomplishing. And it's all because of her understanding, okay, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to go, and she's gotten support to get her there. I want you to be highlighting stories like this in your content. Get the person online to talk about it. If they're willing to do a video, post that, share that, help people see. I don't just understand and talk about how I can help you go from A to Z. I'm going to use someone else as social proof to say, I can help you go from A to Z. So always, always, always make sure that you are including some trust building content within what you're putting out there. Now, here's a type of content I see almost no accountants creating today, but it can be absolutely transformative in helping people take the next step when it comes to working with you. And that's process and behind the scenes content. And when I say behind the scenes content, I don't just mean, okay, let's take a video of me working today and create a little vlog of what it looks like to spend a day in my life. That content can be great, but that's for a different type of content. What I mean is helping people really see into how you make decisions and what it looks like when you become a client. So for example, create content about how do we decide if doing a tax plan even makes sense? How do we decide if you are a good fit for us to work with you? How do we decide on our fees at our firm? How do we help people come on board and switch to working with us if they've already had an accountant? Think about the questions that your prospects have and the roadblocks that they potentially have in working with you. For example, people are going to wonder, okay, what's the cost? Can we put that out there and just clarify it up front? Now, this doesn't mean that you're saying, okay, if I do your tax return, it's this, but maybe it's a range. Other questions might be like, it's really hard to switch an accountant. What's it going to be like if I decide to switch with them? Let's create a video about this. Let's clarify that up front. Let's show them that it's not that hard to switch to becoming our client. So create process and behind the scenes content. Help someone overcome their concerns when it comes to working with you or even just booking that discovery call. This can be an absolute game changer. Now, finally, the last type of content that you should absolutely be creating is called clarity content. This is where you outline exactly who you can help and who isn't a good fit, because it's just as important that our content attracts the right people as that it repels the people who aren't right. So maybe this is business owners making over $1 million a year. Maybe this is they're in a certain niche. Maybe this is that they're local. Whatever it is that this is a absolute yes client, let's create content around that. This is exactly who we can help. That way, people can self-select out. Maybe you're like, hey, we do not deal with any inventory. Let's make that super clear. And something I want to point out as I'm talking about creating content, this doesn't just apply to a video that you're going to post on YouTube or on social media. This is content everywhere. So for example, create content on social media and on YouTube, be posting to your blog about here's our ideal client, but this can also look like content in your intake on your website where you have a question. Hey, do you have any inventory? And if someone puts no or yes, you have something that pops up that says, sorry, you're not a good fit. Or maybe in that question you say, please confirm that you don't have inventory. We only work with clients who don't. So when I say content, this applies to everything, everywhere, as well as what's coming out of your mouth when you speak to people. That's content. When you're creating this clarity content, I don't want you to just think about creating content that clarifies who you work with in terms of size of business, niche, location, but also what's that person like? For example, maybe it's, hey, we aren't a good fit if you aren't someone who wants to meet with your accountant regularly. Some people don't, and that's fine. And if they are one of those people, let's put it out there that you're not a good fit. Or, hey, we aren't the cheapest option because we do A, B, and C. Just put it out there. We're not the cheapest. If you are looking for the cheapest, then we're not a good fit. you don't want to waste anyone's time and you don't want your time wasted. So all of those things that make someone a great client or not a great client for you, get them on a list and start finding ways to communicate that within your content. Now, if you are at the end of this video and you're thinking, wow, I have to create a lot of content, I actually have a video going over the content system that we use at Leaders Online, as well as help our clients implement, where it just takes a few minutes a week to essentially create a ton of content. So I'll be sure to link it here as well in the description so that you can put out a ton of content without taking a lot of your time. And before you click off this video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And if you like this video, be sure to like the video. And I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let me know what type of content do you want to create next. Based upon this video, what type of content do you feel like is missing, or just what type of content are you looking forward to creating more of? Let me know and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye now.